Hello, welcome to our first installment of Inside the Lair, and we're here with two-year soccer player from women's soccer, Yvonne Zapata, and obviously she was part of probably one of the most winningest times in women's soccer history, and also has an excellent background we'll all get a chance to detail here, and glad she can meet us after a long day of work. Yvonne, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
So I guess I'll kick it off right here. You graduated Lincoln High School. You're originally from, I think, Yonkers, New York, it said on your bio. What was the selling point to get you to go to Borough Manhattan Community College?
Well, I was in high school, of course. I went to Lincoln High School in Yonkers. I'm from Westchester. I was looking for a school mostly a part what I wanted to study. I wanted to study special ed needs because I myself have a learning disability where I wanted to inspire other kids to learn and not be afraid to express their learning experience because of course there's always a kid in that class that's doesn't have like the true confidence to raise their hand saying, hey, I know this answer, but feel like they're like 100% wrong, but they're not. So I wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to be a teacher ever since I left Lincoln. And then my mom, she's like, hey, there's a community college. And I love the city. I always loved the city since I was small because my dad, he always took me to the city. So he was like, there's a 2-year college right by Lower Manhattan. It's good. You're like, you can commute because I commute by bus and train, and it takes me about an hour and 45, which is a long commute, but it helps me to study and work on myself, or either like, watch some TV on my phone and stuff. So it was good. I love the environment of the city. So I choose Borough Manhattan Community College.
But in addition to loving the environment of the city, because that's what I get from a lot of sophomores that we put on our, why BMCC. Is there maybe another reason why you chose that school? And what about the community there? All I hear about is the community from the professors and on the athletic side, whether it be, obviously Modu, who coached you, basketball,
Mhm.
Tommy Guerin, Eric Almonte, Coach Ramos of baseball, and Coach Aponte, that it's really a nice balance. It's a balance between you have the professors and the community and the president that's behind you, and everyone's trying to be friendly, diverse community. Then you have it on the athletic field. That's got to be a massive bonus.
Yes, it is. Honestly, when I came into that school my first freshman year, I felt at home. I felt I was welcomed with open arms. The professors, they're very lenient and they're very like, well forward. They knew I was a student athlete, so they helped me balance that. And also not only the professors, but my coach helped me Modu. He helped me know that school comes first because you're a student athlete for a reason. School comes first before practice and soccer. So he knew that when we were all free at the time when we don't have practice, we all get together and we had a study group. And sometimes, yes, we'll fool around, but we know when we have to take something serious and to study. And also, my teammates will help me because there will be like someone's good at math or someone's good at reading or someone's good at, chemistry. And we always help each other out because at the end of the day, we're a team and we always have to support each other because at the end of the day we're all pursuing something that we want to become.
Switch here to the soccer career, 2 years, 10 total wins in those 2 years. Women's soccer, in addition to trying to find the ability to schedule enough games, hasn't had that type of success. And again, you played defenseman and you played forward. They
Yeah.
call it fullback from a soccer standpoint or forward. But first thing I want to mention is your sophomore year, you got to see record-setting performances by Taylor Roche. What was it like to see her just light it up there, goal-scoring wise?
So with her, it was great because I met her my sophomore year. She was a girl from Cali. So we never had anyone on our team that was from a different part of New York. So when I met her and I seen this girl, she's killing it on the field and she's like making so many goals. I'm like, wow, like this girl has talent. And it's so crazy because we all are diverse, where it's like we all come from different backgrounds and we all come from different cities. Some are from Brooklyn, some are from Queens, some are from the Bronx, and of course we have this girl come all the way from Cali. And it's like crazy because we're bonding and we're like, oh my god, like we're so diverse. And that's what makes a team. Like we put all our differences aside, but we're all playing for one thing that we love, and which is soccer.
Yeah, she was outstanding. I mean, just going over the record books, those cleaning it up. I mean, just unbelievable. 12 something goals, set a program mark clearly in that season, that final season, which was a lot of fun because
Yeah.
you ladies won 6 games that year. Let's not forget you. You're no slouch either. You had a couple goals in your career, and one of them helped you get a victory over a conference opponent in Kingsborough. Your 2 years, you got to be proud of yourself. 4-0 combined in conference play.
Yes, I was captain of the women's soccer team my second year, and it was me, Makita, and it was Dorica. Me and her and Dorica, we were all like a team. Unfortunately, Makita was injured during the time of her second sophomore year, so it was me and Dorica on the field mostly. But you will see Makita on the sideline still cheering us on, and that's sportsmanship. Honestly, I give that to her because no one will come all the way to come cheer for us. And with me, that second year, it was a lot because it was also my sophomore year. So it was like I had to be focused on in school and on the field. And it was crazy because that year I learned my position. I never knew I was a defender. Like my first year, I was a forward, and it was like all right. And then when I got to learn how to play defensive, and I kept doing it, and during the summer, I was practicing. I was coming to the boys' practice on top of that. I would be like the only girl coming. And then I would tell the girls, hey, I'm practicing with the boys. You want to come? It's good for you. Like, you get to learn how, be aggressive. And it's like good practice. Like, we need to be ready. And it's our last year. And I encouraged them. And then that's when I was like, this is going to be a good year. I could tell that it was going to be a good year because we had a lot of like great girls who were committed and very overwhelmed, excited about the season.
Yvonne, something else that I find really, really remarkable, also just about your soccer career, but I look past BMCC. When did you start playing? Because as I look through and get some research on you, it isn't just at BMCC. It seems you just have a natural love of the game. I mean, I don't know if you know, before we had scheduled this interview, I think I saw you at Pier 40, but I also see you encouraging younger soccer players being there when they score their first goal. I mean, you just really love this game, it seems.
Yes, I really love this game. This game I started when I was playing when I was 6. My dad got me into it, and I really love this game. Like, it's been a part of me. I've been through so much in my life where soccer has always been my go-to escape, where I felt like whatever problem I have, I just have a ball on my feet and I could just, play and be with teammates who not only care about me but love me for me. And they've been through me with such hard times, and ever since then I started playing. I was playing in Lincoln High School my 4 years. Then I played at Riverdale Soccer Club up in the Bronx. And then after I started playing for BMCC, and it was like, oh my God, like I've been playing for such a long time. This is crazy. Like I started at 6 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, and now look at me now. I'm here. Like I always tell myself that before a game, like I'm really here. I'm really playing for a college. Like I never knew that. Like out of 10 years, I never knew something like me would go and play soccer in a college. Like I did not know that at all.
Here at Yvonne Zapata, here on Inside the Lair, our first of many segments we'll have here with ex-players as well as staff throughout BMCC that are ex-players. But Yvonne, you're an ex-player. Now, everyone knows about your soccer career. There's something else I've seen about you when preparing for you. And I have to really ask you a lot of questions about this, but let's start with the first thing. You're a triathlete, which I would be the first person to say that is serious endurance. When did you begin doing this?
So it's a funny story. My mom did an Ironman in Lake Placid in 2017. I was going with her. I decided to not go to Florida with my dad, and I decided to stay with her and cheer her on. It was her first Ironman. My mom did this since 2013, so she's been an athlete her whole life. I went and I saw the crowd go crazy. I saw the bikes, I saw the run and the swim, and I'm like telling my mom, after she's done, she finished it in 15 hours. I was like, Mom, I want to do this. She was like, Yvonne, this is very hard, but we're gonna get you there. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. And it was crazy because at that time I was finishing my first year in BMCC, and I was juggling with starting my first triathlons and also playing for BMCC. So it was like both combined, and it was just like I kept running after I was cycling and I was swimming, and it was just like I loved it. It's so amazing to be such a triathlete because it's like at a kid my age, you don't see a lot of people do this. Like you see a lot of older people do this, but me, I'm 22 and I'm doing this. And it's like, wow, I'm supposed to do my first half Ironman in Canada this year, but I couldn't do it because of COVID. So
Oh,
now I deferred it for next year, and I was supposed to do New York City Marathon this year as well. Deferred it for next year, and I was supposed to do so many races, but of course of COVID and the pandemic, it all is all for next year. So I keep working. I'm during the pandemic, I was keep cycling, keep running, I keep swimming. I was, trying to say to myself, Yvonne, it's gonna happen next year, it's gonna happen. And I always tell myself, and I have such a great support system with me. I have my mom, have my family, and I have my friends with me that's always supporting me. Even my teammates, they're like, wow, like it's crazy how we all so connected still, and they're like, Yvonne, you're a triathlete, I didn't know like you were doing all of this. I was like, yeah, like this is fun. And it's so funny because they got in bikes now because of me. So it's like now they want to cycle, now they want to do all of this. And I had other people from BMCC ask me like, how you do this, like how you start triathlon. And I was like, listen, like you have to find a base first before you start. Like it's a lot of work, but it's amazing. It's such an amazing sport, and I have such an amazing team to support me.
you're biking, you're running, you're swimming. Let's not just forget about the physical activity. You're running from each event to the next event.
Yeah,
That's got to prepare you pretty much mentally for a soccer season in
yeah,
90 minutes of a game, obviously.
yeah. It's like it helped me, prepared me so much because it's like when you're running 3 miles, you're running for 30 minutes. And I'm like timing myself in a game, and I'm like, wow, like that's a lot of miles that I'm running back and forth with the ball if it's 90 minutes. So it's like it helped me prepare me with my mental health. And also I have asthma. So I was born with asthma. I was born with sports induced asthma. So it helps me learn how to control my breathing, and also learn how to me control like what I can and cannot do. So I was like, know when I had to like slow down and be like, okay, you're doing too much, take it down a notch, and then continue. And like with being a triathlete, it's all about base, and it's all about having the time of putting all your effort into a sport. And then it's not just only one sport, it's three sports combined in one. And then triathlon, you're not stopping. It's not like you have a halftime for a game. You don't have it. Like you got to keep going. You have to keep spinning. You have to keep running. You have to keep swimming. Like there's no stopping, and there's no, you can't stop. You have to keep going until you hit that finish line. So it's a lot. It's really a lot. And whoever wants to do this, like at a young age, I give them kudos because it's really hard. And I tell myself, I don't know how I do this. And even when I'm running 3 miles. I was like, how did I sign up for this? Like, what, what made me think I will do this? And it's crazy because I love doing it, and I love being a part of something that other people can do.
What was the easiest part of it? And then second, what was the part you had to kind of get better at? And, which one do you enjoy out of the three? Competing and obviously putting on quite a sweat.
So the first was swimming. I love swimming. I love swimming, and it's hard to say because running involves a lot because I play soccer, but swimming was my favorite out of all that. So it was just amazing. And then the second one was the bike because my mom is a cyclist and my dad is a cyclist. So they got me into cycling, and I had my mom and dad help me. Then the third, it was like, sorry to say this, but it was running. And running, it was my asthma that controlled it. That's why I hated running. Like Modu, he will make us run. He'd be like, okay, let's go, pick it up. And I'd be like, I can't pick it up. I'd be like, Modu, I can't do it. He'd be like, yes, you can, you got this. And he would tell me, like, come on, let's go, let's do this. And he makes us do suicides because he wanted to see us get better. He know that at the end of the day, we all have complaints, but we have to do this because we want to get stronger.
There are some interesting parts of this triathlete, passion that you have. I wanted to talk about. You're in the Tri Latino Triathlon Club. You're in a few clubs, and one of which I had seen too. Also, did some work for veterans. Talk about some of the clubs you're associated with doing from the triathlete standpoint, and stuff that's actually helped make an impact on communities while doing this too.
So I'm also a part of, of course, I'm part of Tri Latino, the triathlon team in downtown in Manhattan. I'm also part of Team RWB. My friend Billy is a part of it. Our captain, and we help support veterans, Marines. We help support the Army and everything. And we do events where we go to a yoga studio and do some yoga, or we either, help out the homeless and make food, or either we go have a bike ride. Last, I think 2 Sundays ago, I went cycling up in Westchester with Team RWB, and it was amazing. Like, I haven't seen them since before the pandemic, so it was like wow, seeing them and cycling with them, it felt good, and we supporting everybody.
It's a big club here in New York. You're part of the New York Road Runners as well, and you completed a 5 mile race. I mean, I actually wanted to ask you here because you said running. Obviously, that is probably the toughest part of doing the triathlon. I'll actually have to agree with you because
Yeah.
though you're talking about controlling your breathing, you're so right about that. My previous life in some sort of club, I did crew, and that was a key thing about your breathing when you're working out. So it's a good thing you picked up on. But from a running standpoint, I mean, how'd you build the ability to run 5 miles? You have to understand that's far. Most people they're lucky if they can get a mile. Did you set a goal and how to get to that point?
Yes, I did. I set a goal. It was this year. I was talking to my coach Danny. He was like, "What was your goals this year?" I tell him honestly, I just want to get stronger. I want to feel stronger after a race. I want to feel beaten up. I want to feel stronger, saying I can run another 30 miles if I have to after I'm done. And he helped me get there. he helped me get there.
Wow, that's what I'm saying. Wow.
He helped me get there by doing, like, Wednesdays we will have speed work. Then he will send me workouts where Monday just do a casual, like, 30 minutes. Like, it doesn't have to worry about your mileage or anything. Just do a casual 30 minutes. And I did that. And what you have to do when you want to get somewhere in life or in general, you have to keep practicing. You have to keep telling yourself, you got this. You have to maintain that and tell yourself, I'm going to do this time, and I'm going to do it by setting myself a goal. And you have to write down your goals. And I do that. I write down my goals of what I want to do, and I know that. And I always tell myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set my time. And it was so funny because I had a race. I did the Washington Heights 5K. That was a 3 miler up in, of course, downtown Manhattan. Well, nearly downtown, but it was by the one train by 181st Street. I did it, and I set a first PR in my 5K, and I was like, oh my god, I did this because I was doing my homework. Like, of course, homework gets you somewhere. Like, it helps you when you get that easy A, but when you're doing homework with sports, you have to constantly practice because and you tell yourself that you can do this. Like, that you're gonna do this at this time, and that you're gonna finish and you're gonna feel strong. And that's how I felt. I felt strong. I felt like running again. I was jogging back to my team like like it was nothing. And I was so happy, and my team was so happy for me. And then it was all because of my coach, honestly, and all because of my teammates. They believed in me. Like, they always tell me, Yvonne, you are so strong. They always tell me, Yvonne, you are so strong. And sometimes I don't believe in myself because I have that inner say, like, oh, I don't think I could do it. And they were like, yes, you can. Like, look at you. You were running and smiling. Like, your smile just, like, it went out because you did that. And I was like, thank you. Like, it means so much to me that, like, I set so many PRs this year, and it really happened.
One more on that, then I'll move to another topic here. You did do a virtual, kind of like triathlon.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what it's like to talk between you and I. We also know what it's like to have like a virtual social. Uh,
Mhm.
I was part of a virtual 5K to raise somebody, but triathlon virtually has got to be somewhat challenging because you think about running you could do and biking, but what about swimming? You can't swim in the Hudson River. You don't have access to a pool. How'd you accomplish that?
So it was actually a duathon that we had for my team, where it was during the Memorial Day weekend, where it was like we picked any type of race. You could do like a little baby race, like with little mileage, or like a medium race, or like a high race. Of course, my ego, I picked the higher race. So I was like, I'm gonna do the Olympic one. So I did 2 miles. I ran 2 miles before, then I biked 30 miles, and then I ran a 6 miles after. And it was amazing. And I felt good. I had my mom. She was following me here and there. I was up in Harriman State Park where I usually cycle with my team. And my mom was like, "Come on, you got this. Let's do this." And I had all my teammates there, and they were supporting me. And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this." And I did it. Like, even if I don't have races now, you know what? I work so hard. Let me just do a race virtually, and let me just show that I did this because I trained for it.
Well, Yvonne, you mentioned to me before, so your major is early childhood education. You said you had a learning issue. I actually also have a learning issue. I have ADD, so I know where you're coming from, where that academic adjustment is in place. But you had mentioned to me before some great stuff. That's kind of more or less because of that you chose early childhood education. What part of that major are you kind of diving into right now? And you've been asked on to give some advice right now, including what's going on in New York City with the schools and kids going back to school.
Yeah, so I always wanted to do this, of course, since high school, and I love this. I love helping kids. It's crazy how I help kids outside because I was also a soccer coach for Riverdale Soccer Club, and it's so crazy how I connect with these kids. And I'm like, wow, like these kids really love me. Like I don't know what I do. Like I just, I love helping kids. And I love seeing their smile, and it's great. Now that I'm in York College in Queens, and I'm a senior right now, I'm about to graduate, and I'm trying to help kids. Like I've been trying to do that last semester where I was supposed to do field work, but I couldn't do it because of COVID. And now that I have to do it online, where I have to help kids online, it's not the same. But you know what? You still get to see them. You still get to connect with them. Even if it's not connecting physically, it's connecting through now what's called technology. Because remember, technology, it happened so quickly because of the pandemic. So now we're all connecting. Like how we're connecting during the interviews, how we're connecting to other people now, like meetings, like any type of teams. Like it was so crazy because I'm connecting with my other teams through Zoom, and it's not the same, but it's, we're still all together, and we act like we never left each other. So teaching other kids about other stuff and about learning how to connect, it's such a great, it's great advice to anybody who wants to be a teacher, to anybody who wants to learn how to teach over online. Just, just try to connect with them, because at the end of the day, all they want to do is learn and succeed, and that's what everybody wants to do.
We're connecting over Zoom, obviously, through this interview, but teachers are teaching through Zoom. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's more than just you and I talking or having a panel of, 20 kids in a classroom. You have to, if your lesson plan, if it's a PowerPoint, you got to know how to put that on the screen. Between you and me, Yvonne, I'm not good at that. But it just shows really the extra effort, and from a standpoint of what teachers have to do. How have you talked about that? How have you learned how to do that through Zoom? Because do you know how to do that?
Yes, I learned how to do that because of course, my mom has a friend. She's a professor. Her name is Brenda Hayes, and she helped me how to do Zoom through, like, online, and taught me how to do everything. And I was like, oh, this is how you do it. Like I did not know that. Like, and me connecting with other kids online, like I was teaching them, like, look guys, we're gonna do a PowerPoint. And I was a teacher assistant. Right now I'm a teacher assistant where I'm learning how to do field work online. It sucks, but of course, like, I will have it. My like, I will see them until, all this is over. I hope all this over, but we don't know when is all this over. So it's like we have to do the best that we can to give other kids the education that they need.
Here with Yvonne Zapata, just a few more questions. I do notice, and this is not a question, but it's a statement. I'd like you to build on it more because we didn't get into it in your soccer career. You won the Sportsmanship Award, and if I remember, unless you have a double of that, you were wearing that same shirt when you received that award and had a photo on the BMCC Athletics page. What was it like to win that award? I mean, obviously, everyone, the top players always get the honors, but to win the Sportsmanship Award, I mean, that's something that sticks with you because there's always a big time name always associated with it. What was it like to win that award?
So it was crazy because my coach texted me. He was like, "You won a sportsmanship award." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You won sportsmanship," and I was like, "How?" Because we have other players that show the same gratitude, that show the same thing, that they are always with us 24/7. They always show us like what's a team about. But he told me that I show what true sportsmanship by saying that I'm in and out of the athletics office. Like, honestly, the athletics office was my home. I was always there. I talked to D. I talked to so many of them. I was like, "Do you guys need help? Do you guys need a photographer? I could be a photographer." I was always like hoping because I was like, I could be a photographer for the baseball team. I was taking pictures for the baseball team back then. I was always going to their games and I always took pictures for them. So I was also a photographer for also the men's soccer team too. So I always take pictures for them. And I was like helping them, give them ideas, and like it was just crazy because they were telling me that I'm showing sportsmanship in and out of the field, helping not only the athletic office but also helping other teams too, and helping the men's soccer team and the women's soccer team, and that shows like true sportsmanship, and that's what they named me for. And I was like so honored because it was like I love helping. That's like my biggest like that's all I love doing. I love helping. I love giving back because everybody wants to feel loved and cared for. And I always want everyone to feel loved and cared for. So I was helping everybody and it was just amazing. And plus my GPA, it was outstanding. And I was part of the CUNY sportsmanship and also CUNY, of course, the academics. So it was just amazing because I never knew that balancing everything, I still get good grades and I was still doing what I have to do.
I will tell you, just to thank you, because being able to put together for your segment photos and stuff, not only good on your own personal page, but your athletic photos were very, very good. So I look forward to going through that. And I got to give you a credit on Taylor Roche's photo, I think, that I had for one graphic. So thank you, Yvonne, for
Yeah.
taking that. It was a good shot. It was a really good shot. It was really easy. And, again, always, I'm lucky to have really good students, along those
Yeah.
lines to help. So it is a lot of fun, though, the athletic office. I mean, this is going to be my second year. We will, sports are being moved to the spring. That is a fun athletic office. I mean, you walk in, right? I mean, you see, you obviously the initial thing you walk into an athletic office, you're always saying, well, where are the decorations? Where are the trophies? You walk in, you see a fax, you see kind of a printer. You're like, oh, this looks like every other office. Then, bang, you see the soccer trophies. You see the history of the regional wins. You have Vice President Craig's office right there. Lovely, she loves tennis. You have your coaches sitting there, and there's the other office where Dakota was, and I guess Steve, former AD Steve Kelly at the time. I mean, I almost find myself wanting to sleep there. I mean, I got to tell you, I get a lot of my work done, really at the end of the day at home, but I could stay there all night. It's a fun place to be there, and it's fun to kind of go through stuff. I enjoy the office a lot.
Yeah, but it was not only the office that threw me off, it was the people. Like, it was the atmosphere of how they welcomed you. Like, I would go in there, I would bring my food, and I would just relax. And then, of course, the director back then, Kelly, was like, "Oh, hi, Zapata, how are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm good. Like, I'm just, eating here, and I'm like waiting until my coach comes because we have a game in a few." And then he'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, enjoy." And I'll be like, talking to them, and they will like, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about other stuff, and like, they will also ask about me, and they also ask, "Hey, you want to help?" And I'll be like, "Oh, sure, I want to help. Give me something. I want to do something." So sometimes I help in the gym, or either I would do something, and then what would do, he'd be like, "Okay, bring these to practice, bring these balls." It was hard because sometimes when you bring equipment all the way to the other field, it's like, oh my god, this is a drag. But I just love doing it. I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, I get to do this. And everyone was like, look at me like, you're crazy. Like, you're helping. I'm like, yeah, I love doing this. Like, it was just exciting because it was my first year, and then my second year I kept doing it, and it was like I love helping. I don't know, it's like my natural ego where I just love giving back. Like, it's just me, and the people really welcomed me, and they made me feel like more, not like friends, but they made me feel like family. Like, they just like, it's more like, we connect in so many ways, and I still connect with some of the people that used to work there, and like some of them, like, they have families now, and like now they moved out of the city, and it's like, wow, like, I'm so happy to, like, share that experience and build so many relationships with so many people.
Yvonne Zapata with me here on Inside the Lair, one of many of our alumni interviews here, certain staff members, players. So you're at York. You're going to finish up there. You got conference academic all honors. So, I mean, final thing I want to ask you here. I mean, you still have so many more. You seem like such a goal-oriented woman that you have so much more, obviously. But did you ever really think you could really achieve so much and get so far and be on the cusp here of getting a 4-year degree from York?
When I started at York, it was like I switched. It was like a switch. It was like a light switch where it switched from going to Manhattan. Now I'm all the way here in Queens. And like I didn't know nobody, but then I met everybody. I met not only people from my soccer team, but people from different teams. And I joined the women's swimming team and I joined the women's track team as well. So it was just like I joined not only one sport that I love, but I started doing it because they seen that, oh, I'm a triathlete. Why don't you join this? And I was like, okay, let me just do it. And then I enjoyed swimming. I love swimming. I was not particularly swimming that much, but I did it for like a few meets and I loved it. I was like, oh, I want to do this again. But of course, school has to come first. So I stopped a little bit and I try to focus. But right now I'm almost done. Thank God. And I can't wait to pursue my career. And it's going to be amazing. Like I told myself, and it's crazy, I might be a coach one day for, might come back to BMCC. I always want to come back to BMCC and be a coach one day or either go back to York and be a coach. But you know what? God has some plans for me, and I know that I can't wait to accomplish more. And I didn't know that at the age of 6 years old that I'll accomplish so much and be such a round out athlete that I am now.
Your career is definitely big time at BMCC, and you definitely can put a smile on my face and several people's faces. Several alumnus have become assistants on the women's basketball side, Ashley Brooks. So it's a possibility, Yvonne. Thank you for joining us this evening, and it really was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yes, it was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you.